Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all good? I hope so. Y'all, listen, I am so happy that y'all are enjoying this story because it's going to get better and better. I need you to be in the comments and let me know, what do you think about Monica and what do you think about Nate? Because now we're about to meet Lewis. And Lewis is going to play a huge part in all of this, okay? So, Lewis lived in the Ida B. Wells housing project with his girlfriend Selena and their new baby. Lewis has been at the barber shop all day, but hadn't had one head, beard, or nothing to sit in his chair, and he was really pissed off about it. So he went home because he didn't want to waste any more time hanging around the barber shop. And walking into his apartment, it didn't make him feel any better because it was so run down. Dilapidated furniture, bed sheets hung at the windows because curtains cost too much, iron bars so nobody would steal the little that they did have. Lewis really hated his apartment, but it was better than nothing. But nothing is what he had when he met Selena one night. He ran the usual line on her. A week later, he was in her bed and he asked if he could stay the night, but that night turned into several nights, and those several nights turned into 2 years. He threw his barber bag on the couch. The apartment was really quiet, and he knew that Selena should be there because she didn't have a job, and her favorite show was about to come on. He went to the bedroom, and Selena was asleep on the mattress that was on the floor. It was extremely hot because the AC was broken again. His 9-month-old daughter was asleep too, so he was careful not to wake her. He went back over to Selena and he noticed that she was sweating profusely, and that made Lewis nervous. Then Selena woke up and asked him why was he there. And Lewis let her know that no one came into the shop, but what he wanted to know was why was she sweating like that. When he asked her that, Selena sat up and looked at him like, "What you trying to say?" So she asked him, why did he ask her that? Lewis was a little hesitant, but he needed to know. So he asked her if she was using again. Selena, she couldn't believe it. She was so disappointed. So she jumped up, put on some clothes, and headed for the door. Lewis tried to explain to her that he cared about her, but he needed to know whether she was using again or not. Selena said, "If you really cared, you wouldn't be asking me no mess like that. I ain't ever using that stuff again." Selena left out the apartment, slamming the door so hard that a picture fell off the wall and the baby woke up. Lewis went to get little Layla and sat on the mattress, trying to rock her back to sleep. And he knew he shouldn't have asked Selena that question, but he couldn't trust that the answer would have been that she wasn't using again because he remembered how he found out that she was using anyway. He had just came in from barber school and he saw Selena sitting on the couch looking stressed. He asked her what was wrong and she said that she was about to tell him something and it wasn't because he had a say, but because he needed to know. And she told him that she was pregnant. He couldn't believe it because they always use something. Selena said, well, maybe it broke this time. She told him not to worry about it because she had already made an appointment with the clinic. Lewis told her that he didn't want her to do that, but she said that they could barely take care of themselves, let alone a baby. So the next day she went to her appointment and Lewis went with her. He was angry and he was trying to figure out something to say to keep her from doing it. But by then the doctor came in and told her that there was a tough decision that she was going to have to make. And Selena reiterated that she wanted to go through with it. And the doctor said, I know that, but I told you the last time you were in here that if you went through with this procedure one more time, you will risk your chances of ever having a baby again. This will make your sixth one. Lewis couldn't believe his ears. She already had five and he didn't know anything about it? Selena made the decision to keep the baby, not because she loved the baby, but because she didn't have any other choice. Then about a week later, Selena came down with something real terrible. She was burning up, pouring sweat, and she was weak. Lewis gave her a little bit of everything that they had in the cabinet, but nothing was working. So he decided to take her to the emergency room. He was trying to lift her off the mattress, and Selena asked him what was he doing. She was real weak. She could barely talk and he told her that he was taking her to the ER. She said, no, you're not, and wrestled away from him the best that she could. And he asked her why not. She was sick. She screamed that she wasn't sick. She was fiending. Lewis thought she was hallucinating, and he thought he was hallucinating. She said she wasn't going to get her baby sick just because she was hooked on tattooing her vein. Lewis couldn't believe it. She was a junkie? She said she wanted to quit and asked Lewis if he would help her. Lewis said yes, and for the next 3 days, she was locked in the bedroom going through the withdrawals. It was so painful to hear her like that. Lewis said that it was something that he didn't want to go through again, and neither did Selena. She said the reason she got on it was because she was going through some really tough times. And since things weren't going too well for them now, that was Lewis's first thought when he asked her if she was using again. He knew that if it happened again, he would leave, and he knew leaving Selena would mean leaving Layla, and that was the last thing that he wanted to do. Lewis went to work the next day at the barber shop where he had worked since he had finished barber school 6 months ago. And today was just another frustrating day. He had been there all day and had only chopped 3 heads, but he watched as barber after barber kept getting clients. But most of them had been there for about 5 to 10 years, and Beasley, he had been there for like 30 years. As the next client sat in Beasley's chair, he looked up and saw Lewis looking angry, so he told his client to give him a minute, and he told Lewis to follow him to the back. Beasley tried to give Lewis some encouraging words and let him know that it takes time, that his clientele will grow. But Lewis said he didn't have time to wait. He has a baby girl, he got bills, he got a woman, and that his baby girl deserved to live somewhere nice. Beasley asked Lewis how much money he made that day, and he said $45, and it was almost 6 o'clock. So Beasley reached in his pocket and pulled out $60. Lewis didn't want to take it, but Beasley told him to take it and just pay him back later. He said somebody did it for him once, and he was just returning the favor. Lewis really appreciated that $60. After work, Lewis went home and was grateful that his old raggedy car even made it. He went up to Selena's apartment and noticed that the lights were off. He thought that Selena was probably still angry at him and had gone to bed early. To his surprise, when he walked in, Selena had candles lit and she was sitting on the sofa. Lewis said, "Oh, you get romantic, huh? This is nice." Selena said, "I'm glad you like it because we don't have no other choice. The lights been cut off." He said, "What? I thought we paid it." "We ain't paid nothing. I told you we got the notice last week. And Layla is getting sick again. And you know how much that pink stuff costs? Layla is always getting sick. Listen, don't be blaming Layla for getting sick." "Who said I was blaming her?" Selena said, "F you, Lewis." And she told him again that she was clean. She said that she was only sweating yesterday because it was hot. The AC don't work. But anyway, we got to get this electricity bill back on before the little food that we do have go bad. Lewis looked at the bill and it was $250. He told her they gonna pay that. Selena said, "We don't have to pay it all, just some, so that they can come turn the lights back on." "How much would that be?" $60. "Do you have that much?" "Yeah, I got it." And Lewis was even more grateful for Beasley looking out for him. But Lewis knew that they could not continue to live like that. There had to be a better way. So it was another day at the barbershop, and between the $60 he made today and the $45 he made yesterday, he only had $105. But his chair rent was due at the end of next week, and that was $200. He was hoping he made more by then, but even after he paid that, he wouldn't have anything to live on. Lewis was so frustrated. He left work and went to the YMCA to work out. He didn't see the point of sticking around for the rest of the day when no one wanted to sit in his chair anyway. He knew Beasley said that he did good work and it took time, but he just wasn't in the mood today to watch everybody else make money. Lois got in a good workout and went home. When he got in, Selena was in the shower, and Layla was standing up in the crib just looking around. He got her out and gave her little kisses on the nose while the baby squealed and kicked her little legs. And he was so happy that her fever broke because he did not have the money to buy the pink stuff. He thought about how often Layla got sick, and even though Selena said she wasn't using, he couldn't help but wonder if she snuck off and did some things while she was pregnant. Or did the fact that she was even on that stuff lower Layla's resistance? If she had told him everything when they first met, he could have just walked away from the situation. He initially just hollered at her because he thought she had a nice body and he was going to make her his little jump off. He wasn't planning on being with her indefinitely, and he sure enough wasn't planning on having a baby with her. He could remember times when she would walk around the house with her belly out and he would be thinking of an exit plan. But once he saw his daughter's beautiful face, he knew he would stay for her. But at the same time, those thoughts were entering his mind again about leaving Selena. Selena got out of the shower, then Louis got in. The hot shower did his sore muscles a lot of good. When he came out, Selena was laying on the mattress in her birthday suit because, the AC still don't work. She was just laying there watching TV. So Louis got down there with her, trying to get her in the mood, but Selena wasn't there for it. She said she wasn't thinking about none of that. She had too much on her mind when it came to bills, medicine, eviction notices that would come soon, and she told Louis he didn't make enough. She said that she was going to get a job. And Louis was like, but what about your welfare check? Selena looked at him and said, well, there is something that I can do that the government wouldn't know anything about. And the way that Selena was looking at him, he knew exactly what she was talking about. Because outside of the fact that Selena didn't tell Louis that she was a junkie, there were other things she didn't tell him until she was ready. And one of those being that her stepfather was doing things to her that he shouldn't have been doing when she was 16. She told her mom about it, but her mama didn't believe her. So she ran away. And her only way to survive on the streets was to turn tricks. And that's how she ended up with 5 visits to the clinic. She said some men wore protection and some didn't. And after a while, it really didn't matter anymore if she got knocked up or not. She just would go down to the free clinic. And once she got on that stuff, things really didn't matter then. She needed money, and her body was the easiest and quickest way to get it. And Louis knew that's what she was trying to tell him when she said that there's something she can do that the government didn't have to know anything about. Louis looked at her and said, I know you ain't talking about going back out on them streets. She told him that she'd be careful and she'd carry protection. Louis jumped up off the mattress. He was heated. I can't even believe you talking like this. You have a child. And she said that's why she do it. She said they needed the money. And he was like, but you my woman. She said, really, Louis? You're only here for Layla and because you need somewhere to stay. He told her that he cared and to just give him a little more time. She said, we don't have a little more time, but she'll give him a few days. The next day at work, Louis was determined to make some money. But no matter how hard he tried or how many people he asked, they all seemed to turn him down. He only chopped one head so far. Beasley saw how depressed he looked, so he walked over to his chair to check in on him. Louis said that today wasn't any different than any other day and that he was thinking about quitting. He had to do something else. And what you gonna do? Start slanging and banging? Louis said probably. Then Beasley reached in his pocket and pulled out some money. Louis told him that he wasn't taking any more of his money. Beasley asked him what made him think he was giving him money. He wanted him to go down to the sub shop and pick him up some food, and you could get you something too, because it might help. It might help you get your mind off some of this stuff. Louis thought Beasley had lost his mind. He said, I appreciate the money you gave me yesterday, but that doesn't all of a sudden make me your do boy. Boy, get up and go get the food. You'll be surprised. Things might look a little better when you get back. I can't afford to miss any clients because I'm out here getting you a sandwich. Look, not to be mean or anything, but you had one client in 4 hours. How many do you think you really gonna miss in 25 minutes? Louis went and got the food, but he was so heated. He wanted to know, who did Beasley think he was? He didn't understand the things Louis was going through. He didn't have a 9-month-old daughter who was born to a fiend. He didn't live in a dangerous neighborhood or had to worry about bills. Louis walked back into the shop and the place was full of Beasley's clients. Beasley told him to take the food to the back and he asked Louis where was his change. Louis placed it on his station and was headed out the door. Beasley asked him where was he going, and Louis said for a walk, cause ain't no need me staying up in here. And Beasley asked them, well, how you gonna do that with all them men sitting in front of your chair? Lewis turned around and said, I thought those were your clients. He said, nah, I know them old fools. They said they wanted a younger barber who knew the new cuts. So I told them about you. And then Beasley looked at him and gave him a wink. Lewis didn't know what to do, but he thanked Beasley. He ran over to the station and put his smock on. It was about 5:30, and Lewis had made enough money to pay Beasley back his $60 and still have $100 left. He went over to thank Beasley again, and Beasley told him to take the rest of the day off and go home and tell his woman how he got paid today. Lewis made it home, and he was so excited to see the look on Selena's face when he showed her how much he had made, and she was going to be shocked that he was home so early. So he already knew she was going to think that he got fired and that she was going to go off. And as soon as she started, Lewis was going to pull out that money. He couldn't wait. So Lewis quietly opened the door because he wanted to surprise her. And thankfully, she wasn't sitting in the living room. So he started to head toward the bedroom, but then he heard a scream and he panicked because the apartment had been broken into twice already. And all he could think was that someone came through the window and was probably holding a piece to Selena's head. So Lewis burst through the bedroom door, and there was a man with a piece, but it just wasn't at Selena's head, but it was all up in Catville. Lewis could not believe his eyes. He stood there watching his woman ride up and down on this man, and he realized what was happening. The conversation from last night where Selena said that she was going to start back tricking. He looked over to the crib, but thankfully Layla was asleep. Selena spun around and saw that it was Lewis. She was trying to pull herself off the man, but she couldn't quite dislodge. Lewis grabbed her off the man and then lunged at him as the man was frantically reaching for something at the head of the mattress. Lewis, no! He looked back at her and then he heard a loud click and felt something cold pressed against his head. Now what, Nick? Lewis slowly raised his hands and said, that's my woman you in here with and my daughter. You laying pipe while my daughter is in here? Well, listen, I'm sorry to hear that, but we had a little business deal. And I said something about the baby to your woman, and she said, leave her be. So I did. It didn't make me no none. Lewis was now burning a hole through Selena. The man said, so it looks like we got us a little situation. So what we gonna do about it? Lewis said that he just wanted that man up out his house. Dude said, I could do that. Just don't try nothing crazy while I put my clothes back on. And then Selena yelled, no. And both of them turned to look at her and she said, but do I still get my money? Baby girl, you didn't complete the deal. Then I want you to stay. What? Selena, what are you talking about? I got money. I got $100 right here in my pocket. $100, Lewis? Really? It took you 8 hours to make $100, and I'm going to make that in one. Just leave. I ain't going nowhere. I'm not leaving my baby, Selena. You can come back and see her, but right now, I got work to do. Hey, you heard what the lady said? You got to go, partner. Lewis stood up, and the man guided him out the door with the leg still pressed against his head. Lewis told Selena that he was not leaving his baby with her. He wasn't going to leave her like that. Selena looked at him without a care in the world and said, whatever, Lewis. After getting put out of Selena's apartment and then running around to the window, trying to look through, Lewis could hear that Selena went right back to what she was doing. And once Lewis heard Layla start crying, he knew he had to leave before he took a chance to just burst back into that apartment and let whatever happened happen. But he jumped in his car and just rolled around until his gas couldn't take him any further. And he ended up at his friend's Freddie's house. Freddie lived in his mom's basement, so he tapped on the window and asked if he could stay overnight because Selena had put him out. Freddie was like, bruh, you know my mama don't like you. She haven't liked you since we got in trouble for stealing in the 3rd grade. Come on, Freddie. I'll be gone before your mama even gets up. And that's exactly what happened. Lewis was up out of there before Freddie or his mama got up. He went on into work and it was back to how it usually was, slow. He only made $45. He was standing outside the shop smoking and Beasley came out there smoking on his cigar and Lewis told him what happened. Beasley told him that there was no place for a 9-month-old to stay, but he'll have to try and work things out with his girl until he could find them better. Beasley knew that Lewis didn't want to, but he told him to just do it for the sake of his daughter. Lewis made it to Selena's and asked if he could see Layla. He went in and started playing with his daughter, and he couldn't believe that he could miss someone that much in such a short period of time. He looked up and saw Selena standing in the doorway, and he tried to ask her why she did what she did, and she told him that she was not fit to talk about that. Well, I want to come back. Selena ran her hands down her face and told him that he couldn't come back. Why not? I'll forget that yesterday ever happened and I won't bring it up. It's over. But it's not, Lewis. Selena said that she still needed money and that she was going to continue to make her money. And as a matter of fact, he needed to be leaving because she had stuff to do. Wait, I know you're not cutting my time short with my daughter because you got a dude about to run up in here. Selena looked him right in his eyes without any intimidation in sight and said, okay, then I'm not telling you that, but you still got to get up out of here. She walked around him and went to the dresser. He grabbed her by the arm and spun her around and told her that she wasn't going to keep on doing that with his daughter there. And who going to stop me? This is my place, and I can do whatever the heck I want to do up in it. Louis threatened to call the police, and Selena started laughing. Okay, go right ahead. And especially since you care so much about your daughter. And when they come take her away because her mama tricking, where do you think they're going to put her? That's right, in the system. Well, give her to me. And that made Selena laugh even harder. You ain't got nowhere to stay. Where you living? How you going to raise her? Care for her? I'll find a way, Louis said, as he was getting heated that she was mocking him. Well, thank God Layla has more than one choice. Now, if you don't mind, I got stuff to do. So can you leave? Unless you want that lead pressed against your head again. Baby, listen, I don't know why, but when Selena was asking Louis those questions, why am I here Super Scent? Why am I here Super Scent say, how you gonna take me to court, Louis? What address you gonna use, Louis? What ID you gonna use, Louis? How you gonna pay for the court fees, Louis? That's all I'm hearing is Super Scent. Oh my gosh. But baby, all right. So now Louis was awakened by an officer tapping on his window, letting him know that if he didn't move, he was going to get a ticket. At first, Louis thought the man was in his dreams, but everything started flooding back. From Selena putting him out to her asking for her key back to him sleeping in his car. Louis didn't know what he was going to do, but he started driving east along 87th Street. His mind was full. So many thoughts he had running through his mind that he almost ran into the back of a pickup truck. He slammed on his brakes and was surprised that they worked because he needed to get them fixed. He knew that he had to take his mind off of all this stuff at least long enough for him to get somewhere where he can sit down and really think. Once the light turned green, he slowly started to accelerate towards Stony Island Ave. He picked up speed to try to go with the flow of traffic. The thought slowly tried to creep back in, and Louis never thought that he would end up in the predicament that he was in. A few yards ahead, he saw the green light turn yellow, and this time he was paying attention. He applied pressure to the brake, but nothing happened. He pressed harder, and it still wasn't working. The car continued to sail forward. He grabbed tight to the steering wheel, prayed, and just waited because he knew he was going to crash. So he just braced himself for impact. Now back over there where Nate at, Nate was trying not to wake Tori, but he did. She asked him if he wanted her to make him some breakfast, but he said no because he really needed to go home to your wife, right? After she said that, he looked at her like, what was that about? She apologized, walked over to him and wrapped her arms around him and said, I'm sorry. You know how I get about you. I love you. I love you then. I love you now. I guess I'm just anxious about our life starting. Nate told her not to worry. Then he left. When he got in his car and checked his phone, there were 11 missed calls from Monica and one from Tim. And since Tim didn't live too far from Tori, he decided to stop by Tim's house. Tim was surprised to see Nate. Nate, where have you been? Your wife has been worried about you. I've been here. Huh? What you mean you been here? Last night, I came around 10 and we started drinking. I had a little too much and I passed out. Well, Monica's last call was around 11. Well, say 11:30 then. Nate, I don't want to lie to Monica. What's going on? You don't need to know. All you need to do is tell Monica that I was here. I told you that I don't want to lie to her. I don't think it's right. Not even for me? Listen, try your best. Just do it for me this last time. This will mean a lot to me. All right, Nate. This one time and don't ask me again. All right, all right. That's my boy. Now, Nate had covered his end of the story. So now all he had to do was stop and get some roses and tell Monica that the baby stuff was messing with him again. He went to Tim's, had too much to drink, and just passed out on the couch. Nate turned his Bentley onto Stony Island Ave and headed north to get onto Lakeshore Drive and into downtown. While driving, Nate was thinking that he really would have to divorce Monica now, but there was still the issue with his money. Nate was sitting at the red light and he was thinking that maybe he should just come clean to Monica and tell her that her inability to have kids is why he wanted a divorce. But he knew that would probably send her into a fury. But he really didn't want to worry about any of that right now because he was feeling good about Tori. Even though she said she probably wouldn't get pregnant right now, Nate would just keep trying. And while he was thinking about the beautiful children he was going to have with Tori, he heard this loud explosion from behind. His car shook, his body was thrown forward, glass flew everywhere, and he was pushed into the intersection. After finally coming to a stop after spinning, Nate opened his eyes and there was a woman standing at his window asking him if he was okay. She tried to get Nate to stay inside the car because they had already called 911. She didn't know if something happened to him, but Nate told the lady that he was okay and got out to look at his car, and it was bad. The entire back end of his Bentley was pushed toward the back seat. His entire car looked like an accordion on wheels. But even though his car was totaled, he was okay. He was alive. He just felt a little stiff, but no damage. And he was still mad as if. Nate walked to the back to see who was the fool who ran into the back of him. Nate started screaming at the driver, asking him if he saw what he did. Why weren't you paying attention? The driver didn't say anything. So Nate got louder and asked the man if he heard him. Did you hear what I just said to you? All the man could say was, I'm sorry. You're sorry? You just ran into the back of my car. And all you have to say for yourself is that you're sorry. Man, get your black out of this car. All right, all right. Nate was ready to put paws on the man, but had second thoughts when he saw that the man was about his height, but a little heavier and a whole lot muscular. But Nate was still mad. He told the man to give him his insurance information. Sir, I don't have any insurance. What the heck you mean you don't have insurance? You know what? I'm sick of you. Nate took out his phone and called 911. But the man tried to stop him. He was begging and pleading with Nate not to call the police. Sir, I don't have anything. No home, no money, nothing. That's why I couldn't get my brakes fixed. 911, what is your emergency? Sir, please, please hang up. Please don't do this. I don't have any money. No insurance. But I'm sure we can work something out. Anything. Nate looked the man up and down. How in the world does a man mess up his life so bad that he doesn't have a place to stay or any money? And he's talking about we can work something out? What in the world could this loser do to help me out? He ain't got nothing. All he could possibly do is wash my car. Well, I don't have a car anymore. Well, he can wash my wife's car. He can wash my wife's car. Nate's wheels started turning. The 911 operator was still asking where did the accident happen, but Nate hung up the phone. He looked the man up and down and said, "You know what? Maybe we can work something out." Now back over there with Monica, she was trying to call Nate again, but sprung up from the sofa when she heard someone at the door. When Nate walked in, she ran over to him, threw her arms around him, and was squeezing him tightly because she was so worried about him. But Nate moaned and Monica loosened her embrace. She stepped back and asked him if he was okay. He told her that he had been in an accident. What? Did it happen last night? Is that why you weren't home? No, it happened this morning. Well, did you go to the hospital? No, I didn't go to the hospital because I'm fine. But how do you know that if you didn't go to the hospital? Nate grabbed Monica by the shoulders, looked her in the eyes, and told her, "I'm fine. I'm just a little shaken up, but I'll be okay." Monica just looked at him and said, "Fine. But okay, so what happened to the car? I had it towed, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to total it out." "Oh, I'm sorry, baby." "Well, I'm glad you're okay because I was so worried about you. Where were you last night? I thought you said we could go out to dinner." "I was at Tim's. But when I called Tim, he said he had spoken to you. I got there a little after 11. Then where were you before then?" Nate stepped away from Monica and said that he was just out walking around because he had things on his mind. Monica wanted to know what kind of things. Nate raised his voice and said, "Things, Monica." And that startled Monica, but she still asked, no, why didn't he call her to at least let her know that he was okay? Nate said he didn't know why he didn't call her. He said there were just things that he needed to work out in his mind, that he went over to Tim's because he needed to talk to someone. "Well, you could have talked to me." "No, it needed to be Tim." "So, were you talking about us?" "Yes. But is there anything to eat up in here because I'm starving?" Monica felt like Nate was dismissing her, so she told him that she would fix him some breakfast and to just go have a seat. As Monica walked into the kitchen, she was thinking like, I thought things were getting better, but evidently they weren't. Monica knew that Nate still resented her for not being able to have kids, and if she had any doubts about looking into adoption, she didn't any longer, but she would have to wait to talk to him about it since he was upset and in a mood. And then she froze. She remembered that she didn't put the papers away from the adoption agency, and they were on the dining room table where Nate was about to sit. So she rushed over and said, "Let me clear all of this out of your way." "Hold up. What is that?" As he grabbed some of the pages out of Monica's hands. Monica said, "Oh, it's nothing." And Nate was like, "No, it's something," as he read the letterhead that said the True Home Adoption Agency. "We don't have to talk about this right now. I'll go make your breakfast and we can talk about it at another time." "No, we can't talk about it another time because I thought we already had this conversation and decided against it." Monica turned to Nate and said, "No, we didn't have a conversation. I mentioned it to you. You rejected it, and we didn't decide on anything." "Well, I'm here to let you know that there is nothing to talk about." "Yes, there is, Nate. You wanted a family. You still want a family, and this is our only option." "Listen, Monica, it's not important anymore." Bull. If it wasn't important anymore, you wouldn't be out there walking around with things on your mind and you wouldn't have to crash at your brother's. "Look, Monica, I just don't think it's a good idea." Monica walked up to Nate and told him that she feels like their marriage is falling apart and she knows that he can feel it too. She started going through the papers until she found a picture of Nathaniel. She told Nate to look at it. "His name is Nathaniel and we can adopt him if we want to. That could be your son. All you have to do is say yes." Nate was looking at the picture, but he was like, "I don't know, Monica. Just think about it, Nate. Will you think about it? Look, I won't promise anything, but I'll think about it." Now back over to Lewis. He made it to a motel and he couldn't figure out for the life of him why he took the money from that man only hours ago and agreed to do what the man told him. He said that his name was Mr. Kenny and he took Lewis's driver's license and put it in his wallet. Hold up, sir, what you doing? You said you wanted to work something out, so I need to know where you are. Take this money and go get you a room. And here's my card. Once you get a room, call me with the address and phone number of the motel. Do you understand? Yeah, but why are you having me do all of this? And what if I don't want to do it? Then I'll call the police. And that was the last thing Lewis needed. So he took the money and found the nearest motel. He called Mr. Kenny. All he could do now was wait for him to call him back. Later on that evening, Nate was sitting in his home office and he listened to the voicemail that Lewis had left him. So Nate called the motel to make sure he wasn't lying. He asked if there was a Lewis Waters there. The woman said yes. Would you like for me to connect you? No, I just wanted to pay up his room for the rest of the week. Nate thought that would allow him time to figure out his next move. And as he was sitting there, his phone rang and it was Barry. He called to give Nate an update. Nate, she wants half of my Do you believe that? She cheats on me and she wants half of my You didn't have a prenuptial agreement, Barry? No. I love that woman deeply. I never thought I would need one. I never thought she would do this to me. Did she ever say why she did it? Yeah. And it was just what I said. I wasn't there. I wasn't paying her any attention. I acted like I didn't find her attractive. But that shouldn't have been enough for her to go out and cheat on her husband. Look, Barry, I'm sorry, but I guess it was enough for her. And just like that, the wheels in Nate's head started spinning. Immediately, Nate reached into his desk drawer and pulled out some paper to jot down a few things. After he got off the phone with Barry, he called his manager who was over his real estate properties and asked him if he had rented out the townhome west of downtown. He said, well, we had a showing today, but it hasn't been rented out. Nate told him not to show it again because it was taken, and he would call him back tomorrow with more details. Next, Nate called Lewis back and let him know that he had covered his room for the rest of the week and that he wanted him to stay there. But why, Mr. Kenny? Why do you want me to stay here? Do you have anywhere else to go? Lewis didn't respond. Okay then. Stay put and I'll call you back when I have things in better order. For the rest of the night, Nate stayed in his office as he devised a plan that he hoped would solve all his problems. Okay, y'all. What y'all think? What y'all think? I need to know. What do y'all think about this? Like, I would think, okay, I know he's doing all of this because he doesn't want to give Monica half of his fortune. But how do he even know that he still won't end up having to do that? I mean, if you made millions before, you could do it again. Like, I just don't know. I don't know. I just feel like just give the woman half so you can go about your business and find a woman that can give you the child, the children, the family that you want. You got to go through all of this because you don't want to give up half of your money. How do you even know that she will want half? The way that she loved you, she probably won't even want half. She might just take a little bit. I don't know. Y'all get down in the comments. Let me know what you think, okay? Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And I'll talk to y'all later.